I think one of the most exciting things in this campaign so far has been Mexican states going after the United States, or provinces from Canada going after the states in the U.S. That's been really fun, just as fun as watching the rivalries between the conflicts and the states fight it out in America. So the U.S. is starting to look stranger and stranger with every single year. I mean, look at this Montana border. Like, I don't even know what to say about that. Montana just went extreme. I mean, they didn't really go that extreme if you look at it. It's only 2 provinces, but the border gore is real. Ontario being very, very aggressive going into New York. That happened, I think, at the beginning of the last video, maybe 2 videos ago. But Ontario pushing forward, very, very aggressive province in Canada. And Texas, I think, going to grab a lot away from, first of all, they grabbed a lot from the state of Mexico, the southern state from Mexico. I apologize, I can't remember which state it was. Actually, if we look into the court, it's not like I'm going to be able to pronounce it anyways, right? So it really doesn't matter. California grabbing all of Arizona. We've already saw the fall of New Mexico, but I think either New Mexico is going to get released or Texas is going to grab a lot of this stuff back. Bama grabbing a lot of Mississippi territory. Bama looking good, but remember, Bama needs this because Bama is in a tough spot. Who's Bama allied to? Just Arkansas. So yeah, Florida is not going to keep up with that. I think Florida is among the most powerful states. Missouri looking really good too, though. Let's not forget Missouri out of nowhere, pulling in 2 provinces from Illinois, 1 province from Nebraska. Nebraska is kind of crumbling. Wyoming didn't end up. They haven't taken over South Dakota just yet, even though they do have this. They do have this occupied. Wisconsin also making small gains here. We'll see how Michigan handles this, since Michigan's only allied to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's got some interesting allies, actually. Not much going off from the East Coast, which is I'm okay with because it's hard to follow here. Very hard to follow. But yeah, New York's not doing as well. Oh, I didn't realize New York still had this stuff. Oh, when did Massachusetts take this from New York? They actually took that a while ago when they were helping out Ontario. I see. I just didn't make a comment about that. I apologize. Boom! Texas, they did what Texas does. They went big or they go home. They're definitely going very huge here. There is going to be a really, really big war. And the thing is, though, Texas has this amazing alliance from Florida. That's the thing they have to watch out for. But Texas has to get under control, first of all. I can guarantee you their overextension is crazy high right now. So if California acts quickly, they can attack. Boom, Wyoming pieced out, so South Dakota is stuck with 1 province, North Dakota at 2 provinces. California does not have that significant of allies. I think Nevada, in terms of strength, is just as strong as Oklahoma, more than likely. We'll see when they come back. I don't think we'll be able to tell. Nevada, I don't believe is like, yeah, I think Nevada and Oklahoma are about the same in terms of power. Texas, I don't know. Washington, we don't even know if Washington can get down here because Washington is not liked by Oregon or Idaho, so military access would be tough, unless, of course, Texas gets military access through Oregon, which they might. So it's entirely possible. Alaska's still allied to Washington. I've got to give it to Texas so far, though. Look at also this. Texas is loved by the Deep South. Bama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Florida. They all love Texas. That could end up being more allies from the Deep South and pulling over more towards the West Coast in California. Again, I've got lots of family from Texas, so I can make comments, I think poking fun at Texas a little bit. But I will say, being from California, and this obviously I'm being a little bit biased here, I'd want California to win, but I don't think they will. This is looking really bad for California, especially as every year that ticks by, Texas is going to core more and more of these lands. They're going to, the autonomy is going to lower in some of the Mexican provinces. This is not looking good for California. I would root for them, but, I don't think that it's going to go very well at all. So are the Canadian wars over? Yes, the Canadian wars are finally over. Let's see if there's anything else that's popped up. Colorado versus Utah and Oregon and Idaho. That is it. I really haven't been keeping an eye on too much of Mexico just yet, and I will be trying to more in the future when it lessens up. Ooh, Washington, Nevada, going after Idaho, Alberta, Oregon, and Utah. Alberta, is that a Alberta? Am I saying that right? That's a very interesting province name in Canada. That's very interesting. So everyone declared war. I think it's for Idaho, isn't it? Australia has broken out into a pretty big war. We knew that. Western Australia is going to be pretty successful with 76 war score. And that's about it. I'll check with Idaho in a second. I do want to look at Australia briefly. So Western Australia is, I think, the main beneficiary that will probably grab these provinces, more than likely. New Wales might also get taken over by Victoria or Queensland. But we'll have to see. At the end of this video, we'll probably see the results of that war. Let's check in on Idaho. Idaho probably didn't do so well. Maybe when they were fighting the Canadian provinces. I don't know. So they're in 2 separate wars. Keep that in mind. This is Oregon and Utah, and then Nevada is fighting. Ooh, Nevada is actually fighting a lot compared to who's involved. I mean, Washington and Nevada. We'll see if Montana also decides to get involved, but there seems to be a pretty big fight for Idaho. Briefly, let's check in on the religion. Mormonism no longer really having as much strength. We'll see if California pushes back Mormonism, because Mormonism did move down to the south. American Baptism is, I think, expanding even more now. Interesting. Yeah, so we have disconnected Catholics, which is the religion of the province, but then, yeah, American Baptism kind of pushing up more and more forward. The religion of this is very, very kind of fun to watch. Also, Australia, we didn't even check on that. Oh, all Protestant. Okay, I had no idea. You learn something new every day. Technology, there seems to be a very clear technology advantage that Texas has so far over administrative, but not by much. Again, it's not too much to look at. Again, like I said, we're going to be checking in on Europe. It's just not, going to be as exciting. This is a traditional start. There might be some interesting personal unions, and when colonization starts to happen, yeah, we'll look at that. We'll look into that even more. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously this personal union here with Lithuania and Poland. That's pretty common. Did Denmark keep their personal unions? No, they didn't. None of those. But anyways, let's go back here. So Texas, I think, is going to be given the time to take this stuff back, to integrate this, to core this stuff. I mean, maybe they won't go after California immediately. Now, who's the rivals of Texas? It's just Colorado and California. All right. Well, what about the rivals of California, Texas and Oregon? Texas and Oregon have also rivaled them back. Utah not doing so well. Why is that? Because they came to the aid of Idaho. That's probably why. And it seems like the AI is more programmed to go immediately after some of the alliances instead of the actual, like, what the war was declared for, to separate piece them, which is a smart choice. I think overall that's pretty smart. Anything else going on in the Northeast? Everything seems to be the same. New York, New Brunswick hasn't pushed out anybody just yet anymore. Ontario staying quiet, but they've got some allies. They're actually allied to Massachusetts. Oh, they've been allied to Massachusetts. I don't know why. I thought that was New York or something. Tennessee. Geez, look at this. Tennessee allied to the likes of, like, Florida, South Carolina, Virginia. Uh-oh. Something just changed here, didn't it? Oh, I thought it did. Maybe it did not. Yeah, maybe it didn't. Arizona, by the way, is still alive. I should have made that clear. They do still have this province in Baja California, so something to keep in mind. Has Hawaii made any sort of friends out here in the Pacific? They have not. Well, that still would have been kind of cool to see. No friends here. How about in the islands? The islands seem to be about the same. Also, no colonization yet. It's still very early on in the campaign. It's only been about 30 years. That's crazy. I feel like so much fun stuff has already happened. It's only been 30 years. Okay, let's go back and check on the wars. Colorado winning their war against Utah with 28 war score, so they might grab a lot here. Anything else that's going on besides this kind of coalition war? Washington and Nevada against Idaho, they're at 13 war score. We've got Wyoming against Idaho. The funny thing is, though, Idaho had all of its allies join in. Well, this was a war. Dang, so it's a huge mess going on here. Yeah, they're having to fight so much. So who's going to be the big gainer here? Now, Oregon kind of needs this, to be honest. Oregon desperately needs something else, because if California continues to grow in strength, then they need to watch out. They've got some good allies, but, you know, Idaho's kind of done. I mean, Montana's not bad. Again, it's hard to not give Montana more credit than it deserves because Montana is just, it looks so big, but in reality, it's not that big. Ooh, some more religious rebels popping up. Disconnected Catholic zealots still occurring. Ooh, something new just happened. Yep, Missouri, Kansas, Wyoming. Now, what was this declared? This was a attacker against Kansas from Missouri. This would be a pretty big deal. Defender of Missouri. Wyoming still fighting two different wars because they're dealing with their eastern front and their western front. I don't know how much Wyoming's really going to be able to contribute to this war, I don't think. I don't know. Well, they're fighting Idaho with their own, I think, personal gains involved. They decided to help out Kansas, but that's not good. So Missouri might grab even more strength. Really surprised that Ohio stayed so quiet so far. Very shocked by that. And so Texas, as we can see, they've cored most of this stuff. They still have several more cores to go. How about California? California has cored most of Arizona, except for one. Oh, and there it goes. Bam. So California's grabbed all these cores here. Again, those alliances are very weak, I'd say. They need to hope that Nevada or Washington grab a lot here. That would be a pretty big win for California ultimately. Texas, on the other hand, they need to get up one more alliance by some of these states that they're loved by. You know, get an alliance with Missouri. Missouri would be great. You know, Alabama would be technically great, but you'd be kind of, that might be a bad idea because of the rivalries that are going on between Florida and Bama. Who does Missouri not liked by? Missouri's not liked by a lot. Boom! So they just ate up Utah. Utah's now gone. Idaho's still involved in these wars, though. Wyoming's still after Idaho, too. So they're going to have to kill a 3-stack from Utah. Not a big deal, I don't think. Colorado... Well, Colorado's not involved in a war anymore. So they're not gonna go over here and help out Nevada. I don't think they even like Nevada. They don't. And here goes the fall of Idaho, I believe. It won't take very long here. Actually, no, there's a 14-stack. That's still pretty large. That's still pretty large. What about Washington? Where is Washington at? Alberta, Oregon, Idaho. Nevada's going after Oregon, I see. So you better peace out. I mean, this might be the best bet you're going to get, Nevada. Colorado obviously got the major portion out of that war. Getting 3 stacks. 3 military... getting 3 provinces, I'm sorry. And now they've set their sights back on Kansas. How are you guys doing? Who is this? Missouri? Yeah, Missouri seems to be... They're just cruising. They're in cruise control. They should watch over... No, California's handling Wyoming. So Colorado might get even bigger. Colorado and the Denver Broncos there. Or the Rockies. I made the reference to Denver because the whole Super Bowl win and everything. Peyton Manning's leading the military in 1475. New Hampshire, back at war with Quebec and Nova Scotia. Okay, so we do have an East Coast war once again. It's been pretty quiet on the East Coast. Washington's at 43 war score, so they will get a lot from this. But it will probably be Washington that makes the gains, not Nevada, technically. Is there anything else? I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything else. Missouri at 30 war score. They'll definitely be winning that. District of Columbia, once again. Northern Virginia. What? Northern Virginia? Where is that? Northern Virginia. What? I am so confused. That is very weird. Am I reading that wrong? Northern Virginia is going after... Yes, Northern Virginia. When did they change their name? Was it when West Virginia was eliminated? Maybe. I'm guessing that's when it was. Maybe it's been like... I must have been missing that like the entire time. I don't know. That's weird. Anyways, we'll see if the District of Columbia is eliminated here. There they are. So this isn't even a state. I guess Virginia can just form anything. Well, welcome, Northern Virginia. You've probably been here for like 3 or 4 videos now. I apologize for not acknowledging you much sooner. That's pretty cool, though. Oh, Pennsylvania grabbed something. That's kind of cool. That was a while ago, though. Anyways, so Quebec is at war. No, I'm sorry. Ontario? Quebec? Who's at war? There it is. Ah, Quebec, not Ontario. I got confused. So you're fighting two different wars, but are they two different wars? No. Quebec called in Nova Scotia. So we'll see how New Hampshire does here. New Hampshire had some super huge success early on, but I don't know if they are going to anymore. It's going to be close. Yep, it is certainly going to be close. Okay, let's check back on Idaho. Is this war over? No, not yet. It's not over yet. Washington still has a lot of war score, though. But I don't know how. California is still with the same allies. Texas is going to be good. They're going to core this stuff. Autonomy's going down. That military stack, 16 stack versus, they still have a military advantage. California's at 23. But their two allies are both at war right now. And how much really is Baja Sur really going to help out? A 5 stack, and plus they've got to move through all this land too. Is Arizona allied to anybody? Nope. They probably should be, though. Missouri has pieced out. They've only taken one thing from Kansas, so Kansas still exists technically. Technically, Kansas still exists. Nothing else besides the Idaho wars, right? Yes. Yeah, nothing else but the Idaho wars, and Montana is still involved in that. Wait a second. Oh, Wyoming's still involved in that. Montana's out of it. Montana is no longer helping this fight. I know that they were. I don't know how they're still, holding occupations. Well, here's Washington. I think Nevada is slightly distracted by the 3 stack here. Now, what is this that's going on? This is Idaho and Oregon fighting Wyoming. Because Wyoming now is back in the race. Because I think Wyoming was setting their sights on Kansas initially. So, yeah, I think now, even though they lost that battle, here comes Washington into Oregon. Ooh, it's still going to be close. I think that we'll still see somewhat of the elimination of Idaho. We've seen a lot of states eliminated. If they lose a lot more war score, then yeah, I think that could be likely. I also want to see what Quebec does here. Oh! So that war is over. New Hampshire survived, I think. Don't think they lost anything, but Quebec is now under attack from Ontario. Man, Ontario is looking strong. Ontario might be one of the biggest threats. It also depends on Texas, Florida, and California. Who knows what's going to happen between those two? But because they're allied, that's going to give them a pretty big advantage to the southeast and to the south. California's allied to Sonora now. Anybody peace out with, Idaho yet? No, not yet. And the occupations still haven't really begun. Anyways, guys, I'm going to have to stop right there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.